Yo, 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 yo. We're going live on the YouTubes. Going live on the YouTubes. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the best. Except my computer is somehow frozen. Crap. This should work great. Hey, welcome. Join me. We're hanging out live on the YouTubes, and this is gonna be a special day. Once I get the wallet out of my pants, it's gonna be special, and we know it's special because I have a lineup of tasty adult beverages, which is always a great idea. Let me tell you what's going on here. We're gonna get this thing going, and I'm gonna accept live calls from you while you're in the chat. And this could be either the biggest disaster or like the best idea ever. It could be both. Like we could be starting something new here that I now do for like the rest of my time on YouTube. Like this could be it. I might be becoming a live streamer in this very moment. Thanks for popping in, those that are already in the chat. I'm just getting the final little things sorted. Oh my word, this is cool. Whoo! This is a thrill. Okay, so we've got Genki, we've got Mike. Oh my wordness, there's so many names. Ben, Cody, what's up, peeps? So here's my plan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask for your email, and then I'm gonna put it into Google Hangouts live, and then I'm gonna call you, and then you're gonna answer, some of you, and we will hang out, and everyone else will be entertained. Basically, I mean, I would love to keep the subject matter around how to grow your business, because right now we're 2 hours from the end of the pre-sale of my course that I'm super excited about. But I just want to chill. I've been looking forward to doing something like this for a while. I kind of had this idea, and yeah, it's I'm pretty fired up. Someone's saying, "Breathe, Levi, breathe." It's okay. I'm hyped. Most people don't know that this message is held for review. Which one? Potentially inappropriate behavior. Interesting. What did you guys write? /NBC. Why aren't my messages going out? Interesting. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Okay. We've got an email here. So basically, if you put your email in the chat, it should hide it from everyone else, because I have a filter setting on. So I see it, but everyone else doesn't see it. So if you don't want to be blasting out your email to everyone, you don't have to, but you can put it in the chat, and then I'm gonna add you to this, and then we're gonna talk for a little bit, and then I'm gonna eject you from the chat, and you're gonna be gone. So if you don't have Google Hangouts, if you aren't on Google Chrome, and you want to be on a call with me, start downloading those two things and sorting that stuff out. Because if you don't have Google Chrome and those kinds of things, this won't work. But basically, I'm going to invite my first guest. So you don't have to have. So I've invited a guest, and that the first person that I just invited. Just keep your email up, guys, and I will slowly invite random people. It might be a little overwhelming with the amount of people that send their emails in, but I'm just going to invite people one at a time, hang out. And if it's not going well, like if you're being inappropriate or something, I might just eject you. So be aware, team. This is important. We're doing serious work here. Oh man, so I've sent out an invite, and basically maybe this actually will end up taking me, I wonder how long it will take to get the invite and respond to it. Should I call out the name of who I sent the invite to? Lucky, what's up? Good to see you in the chat, man. It was fun running into you in New York. Yeah. So I've sent out one. Now do I just like wait, or do I you can see the emails, really? It doesn't say that they're held for review? Are you sure? Oh, some people's emails are showing up because they aren't writing them out properly. If you, oh no, Paul Hansen's showed up. Sorry, Paul. My bad. Hey, Kate. Okay, Paul. I'm gonna send you an invite, Paul, because you seem to be with it right now. I'm not sure. Okay, what's going on here? How do I get this thing to send an invite? I might end up needing to do this over Skype. This would suck. Shoot. If I, I guess I didn't really think through how to, because I did a test with myself, but that doesn't really work. Okay, so I'm gonna invite someone here, another person, because the first person I invited apparently doesn't want to hang out with me. Okay, so I'm gonna invite. Hey Joe, check out your messages. I sent you an invite. This is gonna be good. Hey peeps that are just tuning in live, there's now 65 of you. Welcome. I have adult beverages. I'm drinking a Blue Buck, sorry. I just returned from California. I actually grew up there and I was visiting for a Sony event. And tonight, my course is available for pre-sale and it ends in 2 hours. And I thought it'd be fun to do a live hangout with people. But this is so far taking a while to get other people to actually take the invites that I'm sending them. So I don't know how to get them to hurry up. Maybe Genki, maybe Genki, you can join me here. Come on, send your email. I trust you, Genki. You can get on it quickly. Because I'm worried that if I send out too many at the same time, they're all of a sudden going to join. Or maybe, I wonder what would happen. Hey Matt, good to see you in the chat. Hey Matt, do you have Google Hangouts? You should I invited A Joe. That's it. Hey, look at this. How's it going?
Levi.
How fun is this?
What do I gotta do?
Can you hear me at all? Or I can hear you great. So I think
I can hear you, but this is fun.
Where are you right now? So I can hear you great. So if you can hear me, let's chat. Where are you at? What are you working on? What's going on?
I'm in Toronto, Canada.
You're in Toronto? I don't think I realized that you're from Toronto. Whenever I've seen your
That's Peter McKinnon right beside me.
Yeah, he's just like, just
he's
right
in
over.
The bathroom.
Yeah. How's the winter been in Toronto? What's it like over there right now?
I'm getting an echo. I think I need to turn something off here.
Okay.
It's been ice cold.
Ice cold.
Levi, do you know how do I turn off my double sound?
I'm not hearing an echo, so it's probably because you have the live stream open. That's what it is. You have the live stream open. Okay. So you're hearing yourself in the live stream. That's probably, that's exactly what it is. Wow. I'm tech support.
There we go.
I'm doing live tech support, Joe.
Levi, awesome. I'm so excited to be on here with you.
This is great.
Incredible.
Do you have any questions? Like what are you working on right now? Do you currently do videos? Because I see you comment all the time. Are you working on creative stuff?
Yeah, I am. I'm working actually on 2 videos right now that I'm about to put out. I don't put a lot of videos out. Right. I do like, once every 2-3 weeks, maybe a month.
Hey man, that's more than no videos at all.
But I'm an older YouTuber. I'm
okay, now you can't be that old. Come on. I don't see like gray hairs all coming in everywhere. And you're.
If you bought a box old, I'd fall out of it. Okay.
Now I've just set myself up. There's a recording out there of me saying gray hair means you're old, and that makes me sound like I'm an ageist. So I need to retract. I'm retracting my statement on that. Gray hair.
No, that's so very cool. I've been following you for a long time. I've been watching all your films, and I just watched the 368 down in New York. That was fantastic, incredible. I'm stunned that I'm actually on here right now. That's Sweet. Incredible. I love the internet. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is pretty special. So before I let you go, is there any other questions I can chat about for you?
I have no questions other than I saw you pop up on my screen. I have notifications, so yep. I came right away.
Cool.
Came right away. Check it out.
Well, thanks for stopping in, Joe. You're our first call, so this is this
awesome.
could go downhill from here, because I would say this was a smashing success. So everyone else, follow Joe's example and get your Google Chrome ready and have your headphones on and get ready to mute your live stream. And I might just have you join me. See you, Joe.
Awesome. Good night.
Good night. So who am I going to invite next? That is my new question. I'm also realizing that this monitor that I have right here is actually, I'm realizing that it's going to die. And the problem with that is it's doing my HDMI pass through. Oh, wow. Okay. How do I fix that? If that's going to die, maybe I just need to, okay. I think I might ruin my live stream here for a moment, but I think I can switch my camera like this and go to FaceTime HD. Okay, so we're safe. We're safe right now. Everyone just hold your horses for a sec. I'm going to invite a new person to the chat. Let's see here. Let's see here. Carson, are you still in the chat, Carson? Because I'm going to invite you, dude. It's going to be a good time. Carson, you're going to want to go check your email, and I'm going to swap my battery here real quick. Don't do anything bad. Oh, geez. What have I done? What have I done? Okay, cool. Carson, are you checking your email, man? I'm depending on you right now. This might end up just being one of those things where I just like call people out for not checking their email and dropping it in there in the chat. Like that might end up being what this just like a public hazing. Okay. Wow, this is so cool. I'm thrilled. So I'm just thrilled. Cody. What's your email? Maybe you don't want to put it in the chat. You don't have to put it in the chat. Cody, send me your email right now. I have your email. Why am I saying this? Cody, I'm inviting you. This is going to be great. Cody Warner rhymes with honor. Most people don't know that my energy is this high most of the time. When I'm not being like this, it's usually because I'm dialed back a little bit. I mean, that's not entirely fair. Maybe I'm not like this all the time. No, I'm kind of like this most of the time. Some days I'm a little more mellow, but that is the ADD life for you folks. My message. Cody, get in the chat, man. Make it happen. Cody, I just sent you a Hangout link via iMessage. Get in here. Come on. Make my day. Okay. Do you guys have any questions in the meantime? I've got the bear shirt rocking. That's cool. Mike. Okay, Mike's on it. Mike, I'm going to send an invite to your email. Cody.
Up, how's it going, man?
It's going so good. How's your travel back home?
How do you like this lighting setup right here? It's like
You're killing it.
Man, his travel back home was good, man. How was yours? Like Sony and then home now, and like what are you even doing?
So I on the drive home from the airport, I was just like, I would like to drive home and just hang out with people live. And so I literally just like drove straight home, quickly set up my live stream stuff. I did do a quick pit stop for some Blue Buck on the way home. And now here I am. I'm like thrilled that this idea is actually working.
Man, it's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. So first impressions of the Sony, it's like, it's usable. You weren't super impressed, but it was also fun. It's fun to use. Is that what I took from Instagram?
Yeah, I think so I get the question, I'm starting on YouTube. What's an affordable camera I can use? And most people, I think when they're asking that question, want something around $500, and the A6400 is around $8 something. And I think I will start recommending the A6400 to people that are asking that question. And it might even be a camera that I use. So I personally have used the A6300 on shoots even up to recently, because it's really tiny, one, and I can just pass it to anyone and they can use it. But the biggest challenge with recommending that to people for using it for YouTube is it takes a little bit of workarounds to actually do it well. Like you forget if you're recording, you forget if the image looks good. And so a lot of that is solved if you can just see yourself.
Yeah.
And right now there isn't a great camera with amazing autofocus for under any amount of money that's reasonable for someone starting out, that has good autofocus and you can see yourself. That's just not a thing that exists.
Yeah. So it fills that hole. I love it.
I think so. And it's encouraging to know that Sony is listening. I think that was the biggest thing I took away from the event. I'm pretty platform agnostic. Like I'll use whatever I think is the best option that at the given time I have my hands on. Right. So I'm kind of impartial to who's doing what. I think everyone should keep pushing each other. But yeah, what was your takeaway from New York? What was it fun hanging out with some creators?
Yeah, man, it was so fun. I think my biggest takeaway actually came. It was like right before I left. It was after Jesse went to the airport. Willie and I were talking in his office, and I was just talking about like the importance. He was talking about the importance of building something outside of your YouTube channel and then like documenting that process. You know, like how it can get a little bit, it got a little bit mixed up in my head when I just switched to like full-time building YouTube versus like building a company or building something else. So I'm thinking I'm gonna fast track some of my other ideas and just start a little bit more documentation again. That was one of my biggest things. But the other thing is just like, I mean, and you know this, how energizing it is to be around people doing what we do. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a great perspective on making sure that you're actually documenting some sort of project or you're building something. Or I mean, truthfully, that's why Casey started his vlog in the first place. And I think most of us forget that. So okay, so we've got another person in the chat here, and I think I've managed to mute for now, and then when I say goodbye, I think I've managed to mute. I don't even know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. I will unmute you here in a moment. Cody, is there anything you want to say to the people? Do you have anything you want to talk about?
If you haven't checked out the 368 vid that Levi dropped, go and check it out. It's a dope vid. No, just keep making stuff. Keep making stuff.
Okay, Cody, thank you for popping in. Appreciate the support, and I hope I see you sooner rather than later.
Yep, sounds good. See you, man.
Bye. Okay, let's bring in my new friend here. How do I make this work? Okay, I brought your volume up.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hey, man.
This is amazing. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that the fact that transition just worked. I'm thrilled.
That's awesome.
I'm thrilled that you opened your email. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? What's going on?
Well, I'm from Greenland.
You're from Greenland?
I'm from Greenland. So
wow. I really want to go to Greenland sometime. Whereabouts in Greenland?
Well, I live in Nuuk.
Nuuk. Okay.
The capital, yeah. You should definitely come. We can definitely arrange something.
What's it like in Greenland? Like how long have you lived there forever?
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like I have so many questions about Greenland now. There's a friend of mine that I just met who did a helicopter flight around the world, and he said the flight over Greenland was like gnarly, and they had crazy weather, and it was really intense. What's the weather like right now this time of year?
Oh, well, it's usually like very stormy, cold, very cold right now, but around in February it gets really, really beautiful because the Northern Lights returns and like the weather like calms down.
Right.
Yeah.
What time of year do you have Northern Lights?
Well, they usually start around September and then like for 2 months and they disappear again. Like we barely have any Northern Lights right now.
Wow.
Yeah. But in February they should come back.
I really want to see Northern Lights at some point in my life. That's kind of like that's on my list, and so far it just obviously it hasn't happened, but that's kind of a big goal for me.
You should definitely do that.
Okay,
so we actually had do you know the YouTuber James Popsis?
James Popsis?
Yeah.
James
a landscape photographer and YouTuber, is like very cool guy. We just invited him in to East Greenland.
I don't.
Okay. You should definitely check him out. He's like super cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How do I pronounce your first name?
Ulenak.
Ulenak?
Yeah.
Is that close? Is that close?
Yeah, it's pretty
Ulenak?
close. Ulenak, yeah.
There's some texture happening in your pronunciation there that I definitely don't have. But is there any questions that you have that I can answer here before I let you go?
Actually, yes. I have a question for you. Just maybe in short answer or something. I'm making. I'm gonna work for broadcast television, where we're gonna make 20 minutes videos every week. So how can I manage that?
20-minute videos every week?
20 minutes to 25 minutes every week.
What's the subject matter and how big is your team?
Well, it's like a lot of interviews, but the thing is, I haven't produced that much.
Right.
For that duration, for every week. How can I keep it up?
The big thing that's going to be helpful for you is building a process. So making sure that each time that you're starting a new one, you're not going from scratch. So basically what you're going to want to have is like a checklist, basically just a step-by-step process that you can walk through for each project. So that way at each time you're going to learn something new. And then you're going to want to implement that as fast as you can on the next one, because what might happen is you're making the same mistakes over and over again. Yeah. This is what I talk about in the business building course. It's about your mindset. So you'll make a lot of mistakes early on, but it'll be helpful if you adapt quickly from the mistakes you're making. So it's going to be a little overwhelming at the beginning, but as long as you rapidly implement things as far as, okay, so with interviews, it might help if I do a quick phone call ahead of time to make sure that the interviews go well. With interviews, it might be helpful to have someone looking after sound, because when I'm there, it's hard to do everything. Basically, just figuring out what your system's going to be instead of just stumbling into each one by accident. But that's definitely going to be a big undertaking. So, yeah, I'm curious to hear how that's going to go for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So checklist, check.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for
that was in. Great. That was a great birthday present.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers to that. That's fantastic.
Thank you. And thank you very much for the answer.
Okay. Take care. Yes. Talk soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so what I've now done here is I've got multiple people lined up in the chat and they're waiting patiently. I see you there, Gabriel and Isaac. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I keep sending out invites so that way we've got a queue, because I think having a queue is really good. And then those that are waiting are just going to have to be patient and just sit there awkwardly in a small little thumbnail. And then so if you get invited into the chat, join and don't say anything really loud, because I'm going to mute you immediately. So that way I can keep chatting with the person that I'm chatting with currently. And then I might unmute you and it will work out. So some of these emails I've tried to pop them into invite and it hasn't worked for me. So that's a problem. But Gabriel, my dude, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. What's up, friend?
Where are you based? What's going on?
I'm in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I'm outside enjoying the cold weather. It rarely comes. It's down here. It's kind of like it kind of pops in and out, like, and another thing. But it's nice. It's going good. I'm trying to launch my channel this month. Actually, I've been watching you and everybody, and I'm like, the fact that I'm actually talking to you right now is amazing. Like, this is really cool, dude. The fact that you're doing this live, I love it.
I'm enjoying it too. This is I don't know why I didn't have the idea to do this before, but what kind of videos do you make, Gabe? Can I call you Gabe? I mean, we've just met.
Absolutely. Everybody calls me Gabe or Gillen. I like a lot of cinema, like cinematography, movie cinematography.
Right.
So have raccoons currently destroying my neighbor's garbage. But anyways.
This is perfect. We're doing it live, Gabe.
Absolutely. I like more cinematography, maybe not B-roll or whatnot, but I just like a lot of fast-paced cinema or telling stories, kind of like Shaun of the Dead, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, and mixing that in with like, you know, the stuff that I'm learning from you guys. So I love telling stories, and that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 0 to hero, 365 days to the red carpet.
Cool.
Whether I make it or fail, I'm going to post everything, even the fails.
That kind of ties into what, I mean, Cody and I were just talking about how it's, instead of just making YouTube videos about just your life because you want to, it might be helpful to actually make it about a project that you're trying to build towards. That's a great idea, dude.
I'm just hoping it sticks, but like I said, even the fails, I'm going to post them so that I and we can learn from them, because I think that's what's important about YouTube, is just learning more. You mess up, you fail. You didn't really fail. You just taught yourself a lesson.
Yeah, this is so true, dude. What kind of man, I'm fascinated by narrative work, because that is like literally something that I've never personally explored. I've never really spent the time to sharpen my teeth on that. And so is this your first solo narrative project, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some videos, like actual professional work,
Right.
here and there for money. That's how I actually finally funded getting back all my stolen camera gear.
Dang, you got your camera gear stolen? That
Yeah,
sucks.
I had like $17,000 worth of gear, and the laptops, everything's gone. But now I'm back. I have my camera. I have a couple things. I got a Ronin S again, so I'm good. But yeah, I'm definitely. It's all about, when you're doing narrative work. It's all about the music.
Right.
Like the audio that's going on. That's what drives the visual. So it's very important for me.
It's kind of crazy how much the soundscape becomes important, and it's also crazy how much we neglect it with YouTube work. I mean, there's some YouTubers out there that do an incredible job with it, but it's definitely not the highest priority for most people. And I think if I even spent like a half hour more on audio, my videos would be a lot better for it. But
absolutely.
Do you have any questions I can answer live?
And if you want to check out just the 2 little sample mini videos I did, just scroll over to Druid Productions on YouTube whenever you get a chance.
Druid Productions?
Druid, like
Druid Productions. Okay, guys, if you want to check out what he's working on, hit that up. Gabe, it's good to have you. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll catch you again next time. Okay. Who was here first? We've got Isaac. Isaac, I'm gonna unmute you. What's going on, man? Where are you based? What's going on?
Hey, what's up? I'm based in Southern Missouri.
Southern Missouri. What's your heart rate like now, being live, when I just suddenly unmute you and now you've got to talk to a bunch of people on the internet?
It's up about 20 BPM probably.
Cody Weiner, in his live presentation, he basically did. He just did a talk at a conference that we were both at in New York, and in his talk he had a funny joke about how when you're on camera your heart rate goes up a little bit. But how did you find my work, Isaac? Like what brought you to my YouTube channel? I'm kind of curious.
I'm not sure exactly how I found you. It was probably 3 months ago. It was while you were still growing, before you were hanging with the cool vloggers and stuff.
Yeah, well, I've got to balance. I've got some feedback on some of my last videos of people being like, "Oh, don't start flexing too hard, like you're hanging with the big guys." So I got to make sure that people know that I'm definitely still humble and still stoked on. Yeah, I don't know what exactly I'm trying to say there, but I've gotten some feedback on that, so that's funny that's your that you noticed that. What's a question I can help answer for you live?
So the Midwest is really creatively dry, and I would love to collaborate more.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do I do that? I don't know.
That's a great question. So this is I'm going to mute you down here for a moment. So this is something that I struggled with, because I came from a small town called Chilliwack, which basically no one has ever heard of, and it's a small town, and there was almost no one there that did anything like me besides there was one other person, and I don't know if I know the solution to that, but the cool part is these days we've got creators everywhere that we can connect with on the internet, and that's what I'd recommend for you to do. So I I tried to find other people on the internet that were making similar things to me, and that it's hard because that means you're not doing stuff in person. And so that's a little discouraging, but it's nice to feel a sense of community with other people that are kind of in a similar situation to you. Is there other people online that you've been reaching out to or trying to build relationships with, Isaac?
Not like I'm in like the subreddit for the gear I use, and that stuff's kind of fun, but yeah, I don't do a whole lot of online collaboration.
Yeah, one thing you'll notice that once you actually start putting yourself out there and you start making more videos, you'll notice that good things come from starting to make stuff on your own. And what that means is once, like, you might feel right now that there's not many other people who are even aware you exist or are other creators that you could connect with. But the second you start putting your work out there, other people will start noticing it more. And there's a great chance that from actually putting videos out there, you have a shot at actually building relationships with them. So that's one thing that I'd heavily recommend. It's going to be an uphill battle if you're only practicing on your own and uploading like once every whatever. And so that's kind of my feedback for you, Isaac.
Yeah, I've started posting like my projects on Instagram, and I actually started talking to this guy for I don't know, in New York or somewhere. And that's a lot of fun, but it's hard to go anywhere from that when in this geological location.
Yeah. But don't be discouraged, because I reckon my town that I came from is just about as small as yours. I mean, once you graduate and I'm assuming that are you still in high school, middle school? What?
No, I was homeschooled, so
okay.
I've moved out. I'm 19 now. So.
Oh, fantastic! Congratulations for moving out. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's now that you actually get the opportunity to travel a little bit more. I mean, there's so much that takes up our time when we're doing school, and so depending on if you end up doing post-secondary anywhere, that might be a good opportunity to meet other people that are like you. But yeah, just stick it out, man. Start getting some work out there, and you'll be surprised what connections form on their own.
All right, thank you.
Okay, take care, Isaac.
Take care.
Sweet. So we've got Jamie here. Jamie, what's going on? Where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? What do you do?
Hey, so I'm tuning in from London right now. Sorry, from Nottingham though. I'm a student at the moment.
Brilliant accent. I love accents so much. I understand that I have an accent, but everyone's voice who sounds different than mine immediately sounds more sophisticated. So this is great, Jamie. What kind of videos do you make?
I make everything, because I'm a dancer in training. I make everything from occasional vlogs when my ego is boosted enough me to talk in front of a camera, and then also like I make a lot of like promotional like dance content for people. I really enjoyed making some travel vlogs when I was on holiday with my family, because I was up in Scotland, which is gorgeous.
I really want to go to Scotland. Yeah. Like that's on my list for sure.
Yeah, when the hell are you coming to the UK in general? Really, we could do with some of you over here, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like unless there's like a project that comes up, I don't spend much of my own money on travel. So
yeah,
that's kind of one of the tough parts about actually getting out to some of these places that I've wanted to go to for a long time. And the UK is certainly one of them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But so you film and you take photos of dance stuff. What kind of dance is that?
So I'm in full-time contemporary training at the moment. So I mean, contemporary dance is a very niche style, but it's also quite wide. I do everything from like ballet to like walking on my hands. It's a bit weird, really.
Walking on your hands is dance.
Oh well, I mean, it's part of it. Like my skill set takes me everything from ballet class to I do kids entertaining and dress for Spider-Man and do children's birthday parties. I used to do like parkour and stuff before I like started to dance properly. So yeah.
I love it. That's so good. What's something about contemporary dance that someone like me who literally knows nothing about dance? Like, what's a question that you get that's annoying, and then what's something that I wouldn't expect that's pretty awesome?
So the question I get that's annoying, but not really, it's understandable, is like, what is it? Because it's, like I said, it's a massively wide style. Contemporary dance is one of those things that fits into dance without form. The cool thing is the different backgrounds that everyone comes to it. So I got into it through breakdance, whereas a lot of people I know go into it through ballet. So my flatmate who I live with, he does musical theatre now. We met through contemporary, and I was kind of teaching him b-boying and flips and that kind of thing, and he was knocking out turns and, you know, was got into the Royal Ballet School and that kind of thing.
Wild.
So completely different people under the same roof.
He started from breakdance?
Oh no, I did.
Okay, you started from breakdance.
Got into the Royal Ballet School. Yeah, and he hey, we've got a Spider-Man. Yeah, so well, I started from b-boying and he started from ballet, and we kind of crossed over.
Right.
Which is weird, but cool.
And what's one of the challenges that you're facing with some of the video stuff that you're doing?
Time, and kind of, I'm wanting to graduate as a multidisciplinary artist. So I'm wanting to be at like professional level with my filmmaking, whilst also maybe being able to also apply for dance and choreography work.
Right.
So my timetable is like 30 hours a week, and then I also work about 15 hours a week on top of that. And then in amongst that, I'm trying to make videos and get better. I've been contemplating switching degree programs to go to film school for a couple of years in order to kind of plug any gaps in my knowledge, that because I'd hate to take on like a big client or like I've had a couple of small clients, but I'd hate to take on something big and then be like, oh, I don't actually know how to do that. Sorry. And then give it, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And I mean, the phrase gets said a lot, fake it till you make it, but that I didn't really resonate with that much for me personally, because I think I just like being honest of where I'm at. And so I think it is healthy though to leverage yourself into a situation that's just a little beyond where you're currently at, and don't big time. And I think the key is just don't overpromise. So if you get yourself into a scenario where you are working with a client that's maybe a little bigger than you've worked with in the past, that's totally okay and respectable, and that's the process of growing a company or as a freelancer. Just make sure you don't promise something that it's, I mean, it's a balance, right? Because you're trying to always do better. So you're trying to say that you can do something that's a little bit better than you've worked on the last time, but you also don't want to. You want to manage expectations so that way when you're done the project, you have a chance to wow them. That's kind of So it's like this dance wow. Okay. It's like it's this balance between wanting to win them over without having to like totally bluff and pretend like you're so much better than you are. Because then if you set expectations properly, even if it was a project that's stretching your current experience, then that gives you the opportunity to kind of just knock their socks off, and they'll just be so excited.
Yeah, kind of aiming to over deliver as opposed to like build yourself up to something that you're not. Yeah, fair. Also, how do you find the Fuji X-T3? Because you played with it for a bit, but then I feel like you're back on the GH5.
Yeah, so I was sent a unit to demo, and I checked it out briefly. A big challenge for me was it didn't have image stabilization, and so it makes it tough to use for the way that I shoot the videos that I make. I think it's one of those cameras that there's going to be a huge community that's able to get a really lovely image out of it. And I'm sure with the right lenses, image stabilization isn't a huge problem, because if the lens has image stabilization, it's totally okay. But part of the problem with that style of camera, I would have loved if I could have flipped around that screen, I would have been a lot more thrilled about it. But because I couldn't see myself with it, it makes it really hard to use that specific camera for YouTube work. And right now that's a priority to me. If I get a new camera, I want to be able to use it for both, not just making pretty images, which it can definitely do. So I think a lot of people, if they're shooting a subject matter, will have a great experience with that camera, but I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for an image stabilized version that, yeah.
With the articulating. Yeah, fair. Very cool.
Well,
all right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're officially the most sophisticated sounding person on the stream so far. So
that's just where I live. That's nothing to do with it. But thank you.
Okay, take care, Jamie. Talk soon.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, so Gabriel, I accidentally invited you back in. Is there anything else you want to say quick? I've been trying to like invite emails and
no worries. I got like 6 calls from you for some reason. It was back and forth. Honestly, just the only question I have for you would be when you really do just first get started on YouTube. I know that, you know, perfect. What was the term they used? Done, not perfect, but done.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm gonna eject you from the chat here, and then I'm gonna springboard off that for a moment, and then I'm gonna chat with Alex. So I'm gonna take your question and run with it. Thanks for that. Okay, so what was my production value standards when I was first getting into YouTube? Honestly, this was a big sticking point for me, and probably one of the big reasons why I didn't start creating on YouTube earlier. It's because I was trying to build a production company, and I was just really nervous that my clients would see these low-level YouTube videos and go, "This guy's a hack. Like, this guy's an amateur. We shouldn't hire him for anything." And at that point, I was pretty young. Oh, Josiah went and got beer. Cheers, Josiah. So at that point, I was a little nervous. And one of my friends, Sean McCabe, I talk about him often. He had this concept where he's like, you'll never get to the 100%. Like, just finish whatever it is you're working on at 90%. And so I took that concept and I brought it even further down. And so I was saying it needs to be 6 out of 10. So a little bit over half effort. And that's kind of where I started my YouTube filmmaking process, and I just had to be okay with it. So if you go over to my YouTube channel, you can see a playlist that says it's basically all the vlogs from the beginning. I've made hundreds and hundreds of videos, but right now a bunch of them are unlisted, and you can go back and you can see some of those early vlogs, and they're not great. So I say 6 out of 10 is a fantastic place to start. Alex, my dude, where are you from? What's going on?
I'm in Orlando. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep, you're on.
Sure, you hear me with headphones on. And I've been doing YouTube regularly since like last year, since last January. It's when I really got serious and said I'm going to try to upload consistently.
Congratulations! That's huge. Like, most people have a really hard time getting started, so even getting started is massive.
Yeah, it was hard because like it really took about, I'd say, 5 to 6 months for me to really catch my stride and kind of like figure out, oh, this is what I like doing. Right. And figuring out, oh, this is the stuff that I'm doing that people actually seem to respond to.
I love, Alex, I want to pause you there because I love that. That's the mistake that most people make when they're getting into YouTube, is they think, if I'm just consistent, people will eventually find me and follow me. But if you're being consistently crappy, that's not going to make any difference. Like, you might gain a little bit, but if you're consistently trying to improve while creating regularly and trying to figure out what's actually resonating with people, how do I figure out this YouTube thing? I think that's what it frustrates me, when people say, hey, I got to where I am just by continually, just by doing the same thing. I was just consistent. And it's like, consistency is amazing, but it's consistency and improving. It's not just making videos constantly without actually adapting. And so people say, oh, you just got to put in the hours. But if you're not learning while you're putting in the hours, then it's kind of useless.
Right. So I'm just about to hit 1,000 subscribers, probably in the next month or so.
How far away are you?
Like 70. I'm like I think I'm at like 930, 931, something like that.
Okay, Alex, my dude. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Everyone, there's almost 80 people in the chat right now. I'm sure we can get some people your way. Alex, what's your YouTube channel?
It's ALXMNR, so it's like Alex Minor but without the vowels.
Yep. Okay, so I just put Alex Miner in the chat. Guys, go search him up and give him lots of support. Is there any question I can answer for you, Alex?
Yeah, like the main thing that I have trouble with right now, and the most difficult thing is like I love hitting that upload button, but like I'm a freelancer and I'm a father. I have 2 young kids.
Oh,
And
congratulations. That's awesome.
so it's just like, how do you find it? How do you balance? Like, I know you're running your own production company, you're traveling, doing adventure films and all these things. So you're a really busy guy. You're like, so how do you find the time to dedicate? Because I know you got to make money, you got to pay bills, and like you just created this course, you're doing all these things. How do you find the time to dedicate to YouTube? And do you still have like a regular upload schedule, or are you just kind of like doing it when you can?
Alex, that's a fantastic question. So yeah, you're right. YouTube for me has been a side gig since 2015. Still a side gig now. And honestly, it is difficult to find space in the calendar to work on it. And so because of that, I don't follow a super strict upload schedule. And if you look back on my YouTube history, every couple months, there's a period of about 3 weeks where I just don't upload because I mean, life is busy and sometimes there's family events going on, and I don't take it too hard on myself while doing that. But it is really hard when you're doing a full-time job and you have a family to carve out the time to do this. And it might be one of those things where we're picking a day a week where maybe part of your day off each week, you could carve out some of that time. So I'll just affirm that it's difficult for me. It's difficult for a lot of other people. And basically where I've kind of landed on it is there's certain weeks or months where my schedule is just a lot more full than others. And basically my wife and I have kind of decided that it's okay if I'm a little intense some weeks where maybe I'm working a little longer than I normally do, as long as it's promised that I will pull back and come back to reality and slow down for a little bit. So that's kind of the rhythm that we have set. For instance, like I just spent 7 days traveling. My wife wasn't with me. We weren't communicating a lot. And now that I'm back, like it's now my responsibility to make sure that in the coming days that we actually get that one-on-one time so that we're back on the same page. It's very, very hard. It's very hard to do this. There's no two ways about it. I know some people have found ways to work jobs where they have a bit more flex in their schedule, but basically you just have to decide what you're not going to do and what you're not going to spend your time and money on, because you do have to carve some things out of your lifestyle to create that margin. So for me, that was things like I kind of, for a period there when I was starting this off, I kind of stopped hanging out with people. So it was basically like my immediate relationships, work, and then YouTube. And that was literally what I was doing. That's a difficult decision for some people to make. And I don't think it's necessary. But that's what I did. Do you think you'd be able to carve some more margin into your schedule to give it a little bit more time, or what does your schedule look like?
My schedule is super erratic. I freelance for like the corporate events industry. So like when companies have their big yearly meetings and stuff like that, I'm one of the video guys that comes in and is setting up like the video switchers or the projection systems and then running it during the show. Like I'm actually in a hotel right now because I just finished a gig, and I have another gig starting tomorrow at another hotel in town. And a day after that, I have to fly to where am I flying to? New Orleans. And so this is kind of unusually busy. But then like this month, I also helped shoot a indie film. Like, so like I'm fitting. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm trying to get into narrative filmmaking. So I'm like trying to find time to like jump on little short indie films and stuff, just because like to practice my craft of filmmaking, because that's what I'm trying to get. I've spent the last year and a half like really digging into filmmaking and learning more about cameras and lighting and all of that, because I want to so I'm into a lot of things, as you can tell, but I'm trying to carve out the time, but it's like when I get super busy like this, sometimes it's just really hard.
Right. When you're done an event, does that get like after when you're done an event, do you get some time to like, is there a little bit of space after that? So I would say it's totally okay to take, you don't have to be every single week uploading in order to make this work. So if you do have some of these more intense weeks where you're doing events, that's totally okay. But I would say, like, is there a little bit of margin after the fact? Like once a week of this is done, is there room?
Usually, like, this is an unusually busy month. Like, this month is insane. Like, I try not to schedule shows back to back where I don't have like any days off, but you know, I gotta get this money when it comes, it comes. So like this month is just how it lined up that I had a lot of stuff back to back. And the kind of like the free time that I did have this month, I used to work on like indie films.
That's great. I'm glad that you're using your free time for that and not just going bowling and eating pizza and you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, if I'm not working on something, I kind of feel like I'm not doing anything. So I just like to cuz like I live in town, I live in Orlando, so like they gave me a hotel room for this show, and I kind of wanted to drive home tonight, but I'm just, if I did, it would just like I would end up not doing anything and getting less rest. So you know, the wife said it was okay to stay in the hotel room, and my gig that starts tomorrow is like 15 minutes from here. So it's better if I just stay in the hotel and get some sleep.
Right on, Alex. I want to encourage you. Getting close to 1,000 subscribers while having a busy life is certainly an accomplishment. So keep it up, man, and let me know if you ever have any questions in the future that I can help answer.
All right, man. I'm a big fan of the Slack Life series. That's amazing, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Take care.
All right, man. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course. Okay, team. So we've got 2 lined up in the chat, and I'm just going to make them sit here and wait a little bit longer. I should do like an ad read or something like that. That'd be amazing if suddenly I pulled out an ad read and they just had to wait uncomfortably. So for those that have just tuned in, what I'm doing here is I'm going on FaceTime calls with you and streaming it to everyone. So if you have questions, if you have things, I want to help answer it. What I'm going to do right now, because it's been very hard to track the emails in the chat, I just dropped a link to a Google Doc that should be editable by Can Edit. Anyone with the link can edit. So you should be able to drop your email in there. If you're okay with having your email public, go put it in the Google Doc. I know a lot of you have been repeatedly putting it in there and I've missed it, and I'm sorry. Behave yourself in the Google document. Don't do anything crazy. This might go awfully, but oh, wow. Everyone's just swarming the Google Doc. This is amazing. Matt O'Shea, what is up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I've got beer. I'm hanging out with friends. This is I've got a course that's launching tonight, and pre-sale closes in an hour and 20 minutes, and that's a lot of fun. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Casey and I are in Banff right now, so hi from Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Says hi.
So just so everyone knows, Matt's actually local from here in my hometown, and so we've actually done a bunch of videos together, and he's been traveling right now out of a van, which is super rad. You've been in the van, right? It didn't break down or something? There's not some update?
It did break down.
It did break down. Okay, tell us the story. Let's hear it.
Okay, so we got a check engine light, which seemed fairly normal for the van, but you know, putting the computer on it ended up registering 2 more codes.
Okay.
So brought it into the dealership, and yeah, found like these 4 kind of crimped wires, which were like affecting the fuel performance, like pretty much everything. The transmission was just like the 4 wires that you wouldn't want to go bad.
Wow. And how long did that take to fix? Were you basically?
Yeah. It was like 2 to 3 days or so in Cranbrook, which is probably 2 days too many.
There's not a whole lot going on in Cranbrook, is there?
No. We basically saw the mountains, which was our destination. So it was like kind of like, oh, we can see it, but we can't touch it. Can't feel it yet.
So how has your journey into building a YouTube channel been going? Has it been harder than you expected? Has it been easier? Has something been working well for you? Because guys, Matt's been running a YouTube channel, so make sure you go check out Matt O'Shea. Is it just Matt O'Shea? What's the name of your channel, Matt?
Yeah, it's just Matt O'Shea Film.
Right.
I guess would be the URL. But yeah, actually, to be honest, I haven't posted for probably about 4 months or so. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a journey, but I think probably like coming up here for this new year, especially with kind of traveling in the van, there's going to be a lot more content coming out, which should be super exciting.
And van content does well on YouTube, as you know. It's getting a little crowded, but it still performs really well.
Totally.
Is there any? Do you have any questions I can try answer? Are you curious about my business course at all, Matt? Come on, plug.
Yeah, no, well, okay, so actually, guys, Levi doesn't know that I was going to come on or anything like that. I was literally just in a campground that didn't have any reception, but I'm like, oh, Levi's online. I'm going to come down, get some reception, have some Tim Hortons hot chocolate. But honestly, guys, like after working with Levi, so I've had him on for a couple shoots now, and just the level of professionalism and the way that I felt that I've grown from kind of what he's brought to the table has just been huge. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, like seriously check out the course, because yeah, I think it's going to be good for everyone just kind of starting up their video production business. And I think there's a lot to learn from someone who's already got quite a bit of experience, you know, in the documentary filmmaking and YouTube star here too. So
okay, Matt, make sure you send your invoice in the mail. I will pay you for that plug. No, that's awesome. I really appreciate the kind words, Matt. that's too kind.
Yeah, I actually did have a question though for you. So question would be what's your preferred method of work? Would you say retainer clients or one-off projects? What's kind of your thoughts on the two?
I think in the past, I actually would have preferred to have more retainer client options. When I was first starting Leftcoast, one of the things that helped me make that transition is I had a client on retainer for editing. So I was doing basically like weekly and monthly editing for them. And that was helpful because there was at least some consistency. But there hasn't been many local companies or even ones that are international that actually seem like it would be a good fit to do retainer with. I think that's been the biggest thing that's held me back from doing more retainer work. But I know probably a good half dozen people that have had great success doing retainer, like you being one of them. I've got a friend down in California, Caleb Wojcik. He does retainer work, and that's been fantastic for both of them. And what I've heard back from, so I asked them questions about their retainer work, and what they've said is when they've done one-off projects with larger businesses, after the project is done, when they're chatting with whoever hired them or the CEO, there's been this frank discussion that, hey, look, if you had pitched us on doing monthly video work, there's a good chance we would have taken you on to do that, but we only did this one video, but we probably would have hired you to do more. And so that's something that I think if it is a client that you had so much fun working with once, that's when I would consider entering a retainer situation. So I wouldn't ever want to enter retainer without having done like any projects at all with them. But has retainer been helpful for you growing your business? Like, are you glad that you do retainer work? Is retainer work like a majority of what you did in 2018?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I guess probably what it was that there's so much work that it almost limited me from taking on side projects. So if your retainer work isn't exactly what you want to be doing, so mine is primarily training and educational videos, which isn't exactly what I want to do, then yeah, you're going to find a difficult time kind of hopping out of that and going into something that you want to do. But yeah, that's what the early hours of the morning and the late hours of the evening are for.
Yeah. So hearing you say that reminds me of some topics we've talked about before, kind of on our drives to and from productions. And yeah, like it's so cool that you have a client that trusts you and you're doing so much retainer work for. And then my perspective would just be at some point, if you can find a way to either scale your team to get more margin back for yourself, or scale back the work you're doing for them in general, that's probably what I'd prioritize hearing you. I mean, and this is maybe a decision that you've already made, knowing that you've had to scale back, or knowing that you don't have all this space to work on your own stuff.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, and then one thing that I found too is that like when you're known for so like for my company, it's pretty much known for like educational and training videos, as well as for corporate promotions. And so it's like to get into anything like say outdoor adventures or outdoor brands, it's just like there's no connection. There's
Right. Yeah, you have to be able to have examples out there of work that you want to get hired for. And that's where, if most of your time is being sunk into these projects that are not what you want more of, that's what you got to switch up there. And so I mean, this is what we're doing here right now, guys. For those that are tuning in live, this is a great example of what a coaching call would look like in the 6-week program that we're doing. So I've gotten some questions about this, and some people have said, like, do I have to do it in the 6 weeks? Do I not have to? No, you don't have to take the course during the 6 weeks. If you buy it now, you get it forever. It'll be helpful forever. But the cool thing is that as we move through the modules and talk about these concepts, we can have these one-on-one conversations as a team. There'll be a lot of people in the coaching call, and we'll have the opportunity to actually directly apply this to Matt's scenario like we're doing here. So chatting through this stuff is a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing more of it.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, have a ton of fun in Banff. I'm jealous that you're up there, and let me know when you're back in Abbotsford, and we'll have a van party somewhere.
All right, sounds good, man. Take care.
Okay, see ya. Dave Altizer is in the building. What is going on? Oh, you have yourself muted, Dave.
Hey, okay, I unmuted it. Hey.
I want to thank you for your patience, Dave, as you've...
Did you see my journey going from where you called me to my car?
Yeah, I just see you walking around, and I was wondering if we'd end up seeing this like mugging situation where your phone gets robbed or something happens.
Did you also see the part where I took my hat off and I just like started fixing my hair here?
I did not see that part. Nope.
Yeah. I have really curly hair, so I'm constant. Although the hat kind of straightened it out, I'm constantly like battling. I know that you deal with this too, Levi. Like the hair situation, it's so much easier to just put one of these on and just like walk out the door. But like my hair's cool, you know. Like I want to show it off, right? Like it's cool.
Yeah, I don't have as much flow as you have, Dave.
But dude, we had a blast this week, man.
Yeah, we've gotten up to a lot of stuff. So for those that don't know, I just returned from Long Beach, California, where I was at the Sony event with Dave. And then after that, we shot some podcast stuff in the YouTube space down in Los Angeles.
That was sweet, wasn't it?
That blows me away that YouTube has a space like that. Literally, guys, in LA. So basically, one of the hardest parts about doing production in LA is actually getting access to spaces to shoot. And there's literally a space where you can just sign out a room that's, I don't know how much the day rate would be. It'd probably be like, it'd be over $1,000 a day to rent that space.
Oh,
and
easy.
And if you just have a YouTube channel, you can like sign out all this gear. It's like, it's mind blowing.
Not only that, but they have like 5 Reds. They have like 4 C300 Mark IIs, just anything you could ever imagine. And they don't charge, like they don't make any money. It's literally just to serve YouTube creators. It's insane.
Well, to be fair, it's in their best.
Yeah, of course. But like, how cool would it be if they did that in every single city across the country? That'd be incredible.
Well, that's the thing. I would love for them to have one of those in Vancouver, because I mean, I've just got this small studio here to shoot in, and sometimes it'd just be so handy to actually have a space that's yeah. But Dave, do you have any questions for me? Is there anything I can?
I do. I've been thinking about it. In my journey to this moment, I've been thinking a lot about it. First off, number one, do you think that vlogging, in the way that Casey Neistat did it and made it popular, and the way that Peter McKinnon was able to ride the tail off of and make his own, and the way that you even have been able to ride, do you think the vlogging world and landscape and just that overall like popularity is over? Is it done?
I think so. For me, I actually, with the vlogs I've made, I started vlogging about 3-4 months after Casey started daily. So Casey was doing daily. I think he started March 2015, and I started sometime around May or June, and I was doing weekly, or I started technically bi-weekly. And I would say that my vlogs have never performed well as far as growth on the platform. So
Really?
what my vlogs have done for me is engage the people that follow my other work. So usually what would actually grow the channel is, as you know, Dave, something about either a camera tip, an editing video. So those would be the things that people would enter into my world. And then if they stuck around, that's when they'd see the vlog. So I have very few vlogs that have actually ever done well. And so at a certain point, I had to ask myself, do I want to keep doing vlogs for the sake of vlogs? And the answer was no. So what I started to try to figure out, could I make videos that are less vloggy? Like, because the truth is that even the way Casey makes vlogs, I wasn't making my vlogs that way either. Like, he had such a clear concept for each video, and my vlogs weren't like that at all. Like, if you go watch,
it's Casey Neistat HBO special. Like, his vlogs are literally just, he's been making the same content for like a decade. It's amazing.
Yeah, people forget that. He literally was able to get a network to buy a TV show of him filming himself and traveling, which is clearly he's got some
$1 million. Yeah.
Was it $1 million? I didn't even know that. That's incredible.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh, I cut out? Are you? Sorry. Yeah, I'm still here. You're yeah, whatever. So basically I would say yes, vlogs are on the way out for. There's a few charismatic people who will be able to make it work no matter what they do. They could literally just polish a turd and that would work out for them.
David Dobrik.
David Dobrik is exactly who I was thinking of.
Yep.
But I think for most of us, what we need to ask is, who's the people that we can serve that we'd enjoy serving?
So that means the A6400 is literally 2 years too late.
I don't know how that fits in with that, but sort of. Yes. Yeah, I do think more people need to be asking themselves the question, why would someone watch my video? Especially if they're on this train because what people do is they watch other people blow up on the platform and they think, oh, I could do that.
Yep.
But then they forget that it actually takes work to figure out what people might find interesting.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we grew from 0 to 50,000 in a year because I was a magician for 6 years and a filmmaker for 8. So like it really wasn't it wasn't overnight. It looks like we grew quickly on Kinetica, but like I'm finding for me, like YouTube is turning into television. So the production value for me, I'm trying to push on every project that we do. I'm trying to like add story to it, add like, you know, better footage. Like I'm trying to shoot everything in 10-bit 4K and like play with my color grades. And like, I don't know, those things really don't matter, but to me, they sort of do a little bit. Is that weird?
No, I think that's, what you said there is true. Like the mainstream media is changing, and you know, what we're doing here on YouTube, I think is really special. But what you did for growing on YouTube, I think people might forget, which is you consistently made videos that people were actually looking for, and you did it multiple times a week, every week of last year.
Yeah, and I'm freaking tired and have like half as many of my hairs are now all gray. It's insane.
Yeah, that would take a little bit of age into your. But
you like my lighting right now, by the way? You like that?
Is perfect.
So the Toyota Prius 2006, if anybody's wondering.
But I think if you had just made videos about your daily life, I don't think you would have grown Kinetica anywhere near to what you have, because you're doing video. Like, for example, so when we were at NAB and you did a video on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, that video absolutely blew up because you were one of the first people to actually get content out there on that camera, which is mind-blowing.
Well, I just edit really fast.
But like that
I use Final Cut 10.
You do use Final Cut 10. So I coach people not to start with vlogging only. I actually heard Sarah Dayan say this phrase where do one for me and one for them. And so it's this concept of what could I make to make just because I really enjoy it, even if it doesn't perform well traditionally on YouTube. And then what can I make where this is serving an audience out there where they would find this super valuable. They might actually find it by searching, because people search their questions on YouTube. If you do that kind of routine back and forth, I think that could go the distance, because you're making stuff you like and you're making stuff that helps people. So that helps you grow. And yeah.
If you could collaborate with anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
I don't think I'll have an amazing answer to that, but someone who just comes to mind because I've been thinking about it is there's a guy over in northern New York named Jimmy DiResta, and he just makes a lot of really cool stuff. And
is he alive?
He is definitely alive. And I just want to be there filming what he does. And so I don't think that's the most brilliant answer I could say, but that's been a collaboration on my mind of I have a soft spot in my heart for makers.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, you've already collaborated with me like 2 or 3 times, so that's definitely why you didn't use me as the answer for that question, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, once you've set the bar so high, I basically just have to settle. It's like it's basically just settling for lower standards. If you guys don't know, we've been talking about Dave's channel, Kinotika, and he also has a channel, Dave Altizer, which you should check out.
Okay, before I go, I have to tell you something. Yesterday, like seriously, first off, Levi is freaking insane. You were in New York, and then the next day you flew to LA, and then the next day I saw you again in LA, and now you're back home, and now I'm talking to you again. It's insane. But that aside, yesterday I was talking to you, Levi, here in Los Angeles about the digital Bolex. Do you remember that conversation?
Yep. No, I completely forgot that conversation. Yeah, of course I remember. Yeah,
I bought one today.
No, you didn't. Did you buy one on Craigslist? How much was it?
Check this out. I was because we were talking about it, I was like, I wonder if they're still like available on eBay or whatever.
Yep.
Sure enough, my friend in Nashville, who I convinced to buy a digital Bolex like 5 years ago, is selling his digital Bolex. And I found his posting. I called him up and I said, bro, I'm going to pay you $3,000. Give me your Bolex now. And so that's what happened.
Amazing. I'm really excited to see the stuff you make with it, Dave. Thanks for calling in, dude. Really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, my friend. I'll be seeing you around. Good luck with your education course. Seriously, cannot recommend it enough to anybody who's watching this. If you want to get started, buy his course now. Do it. You won't regret it. Okay, Dave, make sure you just send the invoice in the mail again for that plug, and we'll talk soon. All right, bro. See ya. Obviously, I'm joking. I realize that I've gotten some comments on some videos where my humor, just like my sarcasm, just doesn't come across to some people. They think I'm being serious. For example, like in one of my last vlogs, we made a bunch of jokes about like, basically I was saying don't subscribe to Jesse Driftwood because I don't want him to become a bigger channel than me. And I think some people actually thought I was serious, which is a little embarrassing. But Lucky, my dude, how are you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. What was your time like at the conference? I want to hear about it from your perspective now that you've had a few days to think about it.
I think it was pretty dope. I mean, I was really excited to be around that because I don't get to talk a lot about YouTube and cameras and what's your vlog style and stuff like that. So it was dope to be around that many people that have the same mindset, sort of. Yeah, it was special, right? Because that room of people, I don't know what the process was for them selecting who got to come, but basically it was guaranteed that almost anyone in that room already had started making something, that's a cool room to be in. Right. I felt like it was like a lot of the people that were there, I felt like were from the Vid Summit like videos, like all of the people that I kept on seeing, like with Cody and like all of those people, Method Box, everybody that was there, I felt like it was like it was like a meetup, like a high school reunion or something like that. From being an outsider looking in, that's what it looked like watching everybody's videos and stuff. But it was dope. Swoop killed it. I mean, all you guys killed it, but you know, Swoop killed it. I'm excited, right? Because if people that were in that room take that and go forward with it, what we'll see probably, 5-10 years from now, like, we say this term, there's no small creator. And I do think there's a lot of truth in that where, regardless of channel size, whoever was in that room, if they are consistently showing up, it's going to be really special what that group looks like, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And I hope people go the distance. Yeah. See, that's why I don't have a video about that because I didn't go there to try and jump in everyone's vlogs. Like I mainly went there to like network with people and meet all of the other creators in there. Right. Like that was like the main thing. Like most of the stuff that you said, it's so crazy too, because most of the stuff that you said in your talk, I went to Craig Adams' workshop like last year in February, and he was given sort of the same advice, like don't try to collaborate with me, collaborate with everyone in the room. And it was almost like the same thing. Not the same thing. I'm not trying to dish you, but I'm just saying, like.
I mean, I respect Craig's mindset, so I'm glad to hear that he says something similar. And for those tuning in at home, basically the concept is when we're starting, we think that having someone that's more established, if we did an interaction with them, that would suddenly make our channel. That would suddenly like give us our quick break. And what we forget is we've got to put in the work first. So first of all, if you haven't done the work, we don't have a right to reach out to the heavy hitters on the platforms out there that we really respect. I mean, you can go for it, but you're probably going to hear nothing back. Because one thing that I look for when someone emails me, when someone messages me, and I'm like a fraction of the size of these heavy hitters out there on the platform, I'm looking for, have they made anything at all? And the truth is a lot of people haven't made much, and they're like, yo, if you do a video with me, that would be amazing. And it's just like, I don't have enough energy to make sure that, like, I'm not going to be your lucky break. And the truth is, if you worked with people that are at your level and you rose together, you're going to have far stronger relationships that actually go the distance. And I'm nervous about people thinking that if they just got in the room with the right person, that would suddenly like, it would snap and everything would be easy from that point forward. Because I think that's what we say about other people. I think we say, oh, that person just got lucky because they were in so-and-so's video and that's why they blew up. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because I think the people that have collaborated with heavy hitters and they weren't a heavy hitter, this is just a random terminology to describe, like, basically just like the Peter McKinnons on the platform, the Casey Neistat, the juggernauts. You know, those that come to mind when we think of these larger YouTube channels. I just don't think we should set that as the goal for what would make our channels. And specifically for me, I wanted to basically have a really healthy channel that I was proud of before I ever tried to do anything with what we would call, again, what we were just saying. And that's when I started the Run with Neistat series. It wasn't because I thought it would blow up my channel. It's because I wanted to like pay respects to someone that I looked up to. And that was literally my number one goal. And then also be in great shape. So it didn't even matter if we went on a run. I did not know he would like my work and invite me to come work with him. I didn't expect that to happen, but you better believe none of that would have happened if I hadn't done the work first. Anyhow, there's a little rant for you.
I feel you, because I made a video on that, on like how, like with Cody, and Cody seen it, he liked it, he commented on it, because he had built that whole foundation before Peter McKinnon put him on. You know what I mean? Like he spent a lot of time doing that.
How many days did he create videos for until that happened?
It was a lot. It was a lot, because I seen his video, the one question interview with Casey, and I didn't subscribe to Cody when I first seen that. I didn't subscribe to him until Peter McKinnon gave him the cosign, and it was the same thing with, like, when I first came across your channel. I'm not into adventure films. I'm not into, like, I'm not outdoorsy or nothing. I've been following you since the very first vlog on the GH5. That's where I found your channel.
Whoa.
I found your channel from that video. And I started following you from there. Yeah, that's how I found you. That's how I found Casey. I didn't find Casey Neistat. I didn't even know who Casey Neistat was until he was 14 days into vlogging, because I was looking for a Canon S120 and he made the Shame on You Canon video. And then I was like, man, this dude is nuts. And then I checked out the rest of his channel, and then I seen so I had to backtrack from day 14 on his vlog.
That's wild.
Casey and Samsung kind of ruined, I don't want to say ruined, but they changed my perspective on YouTube for a little bit, because when I was making videos for fun about like filmmaking with your phone.
Right.
And Samsung got a hold of one of the videos and was like, hey, we want to license a part of your video for this campaign or whatever. Legal, that's how I'm supposed to say it. They legally licensed a part of my video. And they played it in that Casey Neistat Samsung commercial, The Rest of Us. Wow. So I was in there for like 2 seconds. The video was only in there for 2 seconds, but the check was crazy for 2 seconds of footage. And then it was like, yo, I looked at my wife and I was like, yo, how do I replicate that? And then that's when I think chasing that, I think that's what messed up my channel. I think that's what like, because then I was like, oh, even when I was watching Cody, I was like, yo, I'm going to start daily vlogging. And then I thought about it. Oh, yeah, I hate daily vlogging. I don't like it. And then, so then my channel was so many different things that like now I'm trying to rebrand it. That was actually going to be my question for you was like, do I start another channel or do I pivot? I mean, I can't say only 600 subscribers because it's 600 people that are putting up with my shit. Like when I talk, you know what I'm saying? Or like when I make a video. So when I do that, I just don't know whether I should pivot because I'm not passionate. I'm not like how Dave is. Like he's psyched about making camera videos. Like he's pumped when he talks about that. I'm not really like a camera. I don't geek out on equipment. I like to watch those videos, but I don't geek out on it. And I think I was going to try and pivot my channel more towards like being a stay-at-home dad and doing freelance filmmaking and stuff like that. But I didn't know if I should start another channel or try to pivot the one that I have now.
Yeah, I would say keep going on the channel you have now because the chances are the people that subscribed probably subscribed because they like you. And so I would say it's totally okay to change and adapt. Like to give you an example, in the early days of my YouTube channel, I changed the name, I changed the icons. I just changed everything a lot because there wasn't these set in expectations yet. And so I just felt free to just change rapidly and I didn't overthink it. And what that allowed me to do is start to see what was working. And this is the same with your business. So in the early days, rapidly prototype so that way you can figure out what actually starts to gain traction. Because if you stick with a bad idea for too long, then suddenly you're 6 months down the road and you're like, this is not where I was hoping I would be. And just like you're saying right now, when you had this awesome opportunity and your footage got licensed for an incredible check, it kind of moved the goalposts for you where suddenly you had goals that were a little different than you had previous to that. And it was a little distracting. And so resetting where it is that you actually want to head. Because I encourage people constantly. It's like, you don't have to build the same business that I've built. You don't have to build the same business that someone else has built. Figure out what will work for your lifestyle and actually either work in the marketplace or find an audience, because we don't have the right to say, oh, I just want to follow my passion. Like that works in a sense for some people, but it works because there's actually a market for it. And so this, hey, go follow your passions mindset, I push back on that just a little bit because oftentimes the people who are doing that early and are like, I'm just going to follow my passion, they're behaving as if they're entitled to that. They're behaving as if I just follow what I like, it will work for me. And so if you want to make videos that are more your family life and stuff like that, I would say totally do it, but try to figure out an angle on it that people who are searching for, maybe you're the dad vlogger that reviews certain types of products that might be helpful for people in the home life, or maybe you're trying to help people figure out how to schedule whatever it is into their life, and you're creating actually helpful content for people, because most don't need more entertainment. That's kind of the hang up for people. They think if I just make videos about myself, they'll be entertaining, but it's actually more helpful to create something that's educational, because then there's a chance that it will truly be helpful. What you're describing as far as you ran into Cody's videos, didn't subscribe until later, that's what it's like for most of us. So we need to be putting enough helpful things out there that people run into us multiple times. Sometimes it can take up to 7 times of them running into us before they're finally like, yeah, I trust this guy and I want to hear from him more.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Lucky, dude. I loved meeting you. Thanks for popping in the chat.
No doubt, man.
And
all right, man. Thank you.
Okay, peace.
All right, brother. Later.
Okay, so for everyone wondering what's going on here, I'm doing a live stream where I basically just take you on a call with me. You can go into the chat. I've put this Google Doc that you can drop your email in. I've got a pretty good list here that I've sent out invites to. If you put your name on that list, make sure you're checking your email, because I've sent out invites to most of them. So I've got Will lined up here, and we're gonna be chatting here in a moment. But I just wanted to remind you that for another 40 minutes, the pre-sale price is available for my business building course. And this is a topic matter that I get excited about because I want people to actually be able to make this work financially. I don't want them to just, spin the gears trying to get out there and make it work. I want them to actually have a process for accomplishing that. And what's cool about what we're doing with the pre-sale is that you get in on a 6-week coaching program where what I'm doing right now, we're actually going to do every week. And that's awesome because these specific questions sometimes really help take these concepts and make them more real and applicable for you. But the best part is there's going to be some accountability with the group that's all doing it together. So that way you actually go the distance. So I just put a link into the chat. It's got a link to the landing page. If you have any questions, I don't know if I'll be able to answer them before the pre-sale ends because we're literally going to stream right through till 9 o'clock. But it's good to have you. And Will, my dude, where are you from? How's it going? What's going on?
What's up, man? Can you hear me, by the way?
I can hear you great. Thanks for being patient and waiting around for me. I appreciate that.
No, this is crazy for me. I'm not like normally on camera and stuff, but I watched your Slackline vid and I've seen you in the Casey videos and stuff. So this is really, really cool for me for sure.
Right on. Where are you based out of?
Right now I'm in Michigan, but I'm actually from Miami.
Michigan. Is that a really beautiful place? I feel like I hear good things about Michigan.
There's not much going on, at least in the area I'm in, but it's beautiful. The trees and the snow and everything. It's quiet. So I like it.
Right on. My dad, I think, went and did. Do you know Calvin University? Does that ring a bell for you? Is that in Michigan?
I'm kind of new to the area, so I wouldn't know it, but
my dad did some studies down in Michigan at some point. I believe it was Michigan. But Will, do you make videos? Do you make anything creative? Are you making anything?
I don't, man. I'm just a lifelong YouTuber in terms of, watching and stuff, but I don't have a creative bone in my body. And kind of the question I wanted to ask, just because I'm more on the marketing side of stuff, in my career, was do you think that people are catching on to branded content? Like, I see all these awesome things out there and you hear all these marketing meetings. They're like, we need to get a YouTuber and we're going to create an awesome video and they're not going to know that it's sponsored. And like, this is how we'll drive people to trust our brand and then we'll convert later. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, like, do you think people are too smart for that? And kind of what's the end game here with YouTube and monetization and stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers going on there, right? But I would say, just kind of off the top, what we're capable of doing with a personal YouTube channel like this is very, very, very difficult for most brands to ever replicate. And it's very tough for like a Coca-Cola to have what we're having right now. Like this is genuine connection that I'm having with someone that follows me. And this is very difficult for a Coca-Cola to do. And what that means is if there's an area where basically both could intersect, where the interests of Coca-Cola trying to get in front of customers align with what the creator is trying to do as far as either make an income or get interesting products in front of their viewers, I think there could be some overlap there. I want to ask a clarifying question for you here in a moment, but I think there is legitimate overlap that could serve both parties well and actually get interesting brands and products in front of people in a way that is natural and real. But like what you were saying there, like people are very sensitive to BS. Like they catch on to it so quickly. And that's where this sellout mindset comes from, where someone's just, you can tell they're just preaching a message that they don't buy themselves.
And that's the thing. So like, again, I think the one advantage I had is like, again, I started watching YouTube, when it first opened up, Ray William Johnson, Smosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
R3. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know all like, what it was about at the start, and it's been my like main form of entertainment my whole life. And then whenever I go into any of these meetings or I talk to any of the brands we work with, as much as like you have a creative guy in there who's like, look, we need to be, real and legit. The end goal of every time they go to, pay for something content-based or media-based is always, how do we get dollars from people? So like, it's weird because, obviously there's some companies out there that are doing it right and they're genuine and the whole thing. But then you see a lot of most people who are just kind of there to squeeze dollars out of people. And it's weird because now you have YouTube, has its own form of monetization. It's like, I guess the main question is like, where does creativity and making a living how do they fit together in a harmonious way that isn't, effed up?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that I'm actually trying to figure out. I don't know. I think the people that are doing it well, their audience really respects them for it. Like, so a friend of mine, Jesse Driftwood, he does Instagram stories, he does integrated brand paid work, and his audience has responded so well to it because they know that this means he can keep doing it. And so you're making a trade-off as a creator where basically when you integrate a brand, you're basically letting the people that follow you know, hey, I'm trading your attention for cash with a brand. And I'm hoping to do it in a way that's honoring to you and actually relevant. But it starts to feel really icky when the creator is getting kind of uppity about it or high and mighty and trying to make it seem more or specialer than it actually is.
Yeah.
So do I think influencer marketing works? 100%. There's no question about it. Do I think a lot of creators might want to rethink the way that they approach actually integrating it? Of course. Do I know how to integrate it best? Absolutely not. I haven't done many integrations like that, but the truth is it always does come back to, if a brand is integrating, they're doing it because they want to drive a profit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because some products are legitimately helpful for people, but there's just this balance that you've got to play. And I'm doing my first brand integrations this month, actually, where I'll have my first sponsored video ever. I don't have ads on. I don't have, I've never done sponsored videos, but this is the first time this month where I'm going to have a video that says, hey, this video is brought to you by, and I'm waiting to see how my audience responds. I'm hoping they like it. I don't know for sure.
Well,
But
that's the thing. You got a good following, and you're genuine with the people. Like, you do stuff like this, so you see it a lot. Like, especially with Twitch, because we work with a lot of Twitch people at my agency, and it's every time there's. So we did a recent sponsored thing, and we were delivering them all this products, and we made sure that the Twitch guy could say whatever he wanted. So the first thing he said on camera was, "Look, guys, I have mouths to feed. I'm doing this. I'm doing this brand integration." And his entire chat was supportive because we looked at all the data after and stuff. So, I mean, I think there's enough people out there who aren't dumb and they know that the creators have to make money and stuff. But no, I definitely appreciate that. You know, you see that it's just strange from a watching perspective. You know.
Yeah, and it feels more and more icky when there's these mixed messages when it's clear that the creator is making a lot of money from brand integrations and then they pretend that they're not, or when they're trying to claim. I mean, if you've watched the Fire Festival documentaries, like, that's a great example of like integrations gone wrong. Like, it's bad. And
it was so bad.
and some of the biggest problems there, and the FTC will come after people, is there just wasn't disclosure that things were sponsored. And that's a really big problem, I think. If you speak the truth and you actually, if you speak the truth and you are honest about what's going on and what the interaction is, and you're honest, I think that goes the distance.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you taking my call, and there's a lot of people waiting, but thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, take care, Will. Talk soon, eh?
Peace.
Justin, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Up the chat.
Yeah, I had this idea. I landed in Vancouver, and I was trying to think of how I could hang out with people tonight. And I was reminiscing of those like radio shows where people call in and then they get queued up and then someone, and so I was wondering if I could do this with Google Hangouts.
You pulled it off. This is awesome. Cool.
So for those that are tuning in, Justin is one of my partners in helping make this course that I'm launching actually happen. And he's a really talented filmmaker, fellow Canadian, relocated to Portland. And Justin, do you have any of your own passion projects that you've been working on lately?
I mean, I film my kids all the time. So the guy here is talking about the dad channel. Like, you have your first subscriber right here.
Right on.
I'm like GH5, just following my kids all day long. So
now, I feel like you talked about, don't you have a way of like categorize? Because this is one thing that I thought about a lot, is when I eventually have kids and we're wanting, I feel like I've done a bad job documenting our first couple of years being married, as far as just the personal photos that would matter to us. Is there a way that I know that you and your wife like categorize this stuff? Like, what's your system there? I'm actually really curious.
Yeah, my wife is like a spreadsheet nerd. So it's all categorized by like the date, the subject matter, and then after we shoot, it all gets a rough cut. And so it's on a sequence level, and we know like this is 4K, this is 1080. And so I can just keyword search for something and it pops up, you know, son's first birthday or son's first time walking or son's first words. So
are you, so you're actually going in and you're editing. Did you say you're editing video already? You're doing like rough cuts already? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Every time we shoot, we rough cut everything that we shoot and then export selects if we want to like upload it for stock or just have it ready to go.
Oh, wild. Yeah. What I've been worried about so with Final Cut, I've just been putting all my media into so I used to edit in Premiere, but I've been editing in Final Cut, and I currently store all the media inside of the actual Final Cut project file. And that makes me a little nervous because I'm just nervous of the day where when I try to get into those files, like when I'm archiving them, I mean, you can like show package contents on a Mac and actually get in there, but I'm nervous one day I won't be able to get it.
Yeah, that's our thing. We also have like redundantly backed up. So I've got, you know, a 20 some odd terabyte drive in the office and 20 terabyte drive at home in a safe. Like we're good.
Actually, that's where I like what you're talking about, rendering out selects. That's what I've wondered, because sometimes at the end of the year, I'm trying to make like a year-end video, and the color grading I did at the beginning of the year, maybe I really don't like, or maybe the song was awful. And so I've been wondering if maybe I should develop a workflow where I render out my video without music and without color grading, so that way I can actually use it later with more ease. But
yeah, it gets tricky if you're like exporting like ProRes or a very large file. So that would be the catch. Like we just render out basically the same file, so we know it's like a slight drop in quality.
Right.
But we have the original project sequence and we have all the original raw files. So if we ever need to go back, they're there. I mean, this is like nerd stuff. This is like, you know, paranoid dad can't lose this footage. Like if this is like client work, it's a different beast altogether, right?
Yeah, for sure. How did you get into video work? Were you originally a stills shooter? I don't think I know fully your story.
Yeah. So my background, I mean, university for photo, University of Toronto. And somehow I got into video, the whole like merger with still motion. But ultimately, the first video job I ever did was a wedding, and it was the same day edit. So the very first time I shot something, I had to deliver it that night. So it was like, it was intense.
Were you actually prepped for it? Like, did you chuck a song in the timeline? You were like,
no. It was like Amina and I, we had just flown to California. And it was like a golf course type wedding. And it was, I mean, we did it somehow, but it was trial by fire. That's for sure.
So you've pitched on a lot of projects over the years, from commercials to corporate spots to documentaries to web series. Like what are some of the tips that you've learned as far as making sure that each project that you're doing is getting closer to the rate that you guys want to be charging? Like what are some of the little takeaways as far as making that actually happen?
The biggest thing is the result. So it's like, what does the result do for the client? Because if you can figure out how valuable that is, so it's basically like asking the right questions, understanding what that result will do for a business. I mean, it's not, you know, some of our largest projects, 6-figure projects, didn't have more production days. They had more pre-production, but it was figuring out like, what would that film do for this business? And if you can understand like the value, then you can actually understand like what value are you bringing to that equation. And so it was never like more work equals more money. To a certain point. A lot of it was like more result equals more money.
Yeah, people forget that it's not just working with any client, it's working with a client that can actually use what you've made them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because we as freelancers or whoever, when we're putting our work out there, sometimes we get these emails that are like, hey, I saw your stuff, I liked it. Like, can you make a video? I've got $1,000. And that we get distracted with it starting to answer the wrong questions, which it's like, well, I don't really want to get paid $1,000 because my camera is $3,000 and my lens is $2,000, and I want to feed myself. And so we just get distracted.
You want to save for retirement. You want to like contribute to your Roth IRA. Sorry, I mean, this is like nerd talk again, dad. But
yeah.
You know, sorry, go ahead.
But if we like actually asked some of the right questions and repositioned actually, hey, how is this most valuable for the client? When you open the discussion that way, I've found that most smaller businesses that I work with in that kind of, hey, what's going to be most valuable for you? most of them are kind of just blown away because when they work with other creatives, they're so used to creatives just being so focused on trying to make something creative.
Yep.
And so if there's even a little bit of respect towards, hey, this has to make a return for you, oftentimes that just goes leaps and bounds as far as actually having the discussions when it comes time to what can we invest in this project in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on, I think it was one of the calls that we've done, but the idea of like risk.
Right.
Like the more you can reverse risk for your clients, you know, and that's part of like understanding what the desired result is. So it's risky to not know what you're making. It's not risky to know, like, here's what the result we're looking for is, and here's the path that we're going to use to get there.
Right. For those of you that are in the chat, if I've sent you an email that invited you to this thing, you can totally pop in and I'll just mute you temporarily and queue you up to chat next. But we're a half hour away from pre-sale ending on the 6-week coaching experience with the building your business course. And so I'm just trying to give you an example of what kind of a coaching experience might look like as far as what we're going to be doing every week. And one of the questions I got actually was, how much time is this going to take? Because I've got a pretty full life and I've got a lot going on. Like, am I going to miss out if I'm not able to be fully present for all the coaching calls? Like how much do I need to do right now? Because I have a pretty busy next coming weeks. And the truth is, as much as we'd love to have you there for every coaching call, this is stuff that you're going to have access to forever. So if you get in the program now, you're going to be able to go back and you're going to be able to see, you know, kind of what did we talk about before and see which questions were answered. Because, I mean, some people were asking, you know, hey, do you cover this topic? And the truth is, some of them we don't go into crazy detail, but we totally will go very specific in the coaching call. So that's the component about this that I get excited about, is that if there's any gaps, we're going to, anything related to actually building a business out of this, we're going to get to it.
I'll also say on that, like, all the coaching calls are transcribed with timestamps. So if you're like looking and you just don't care about 80% of it, but the 20% matters most to you, it's like you can zone in right in on that.
Yeah. Justin, is there anything else you want to say to the people?
No, this is awesome. That's it. I mean, from my perspective, I'm excited. We, like, the chat in the community is already crazy. The openness of the group is, I mean, it's inspiring because you're seeing people like open up and saying like, I need help. And then you're seeing other people hop in and are just like, I've been there. This is how I got past it. And it's like day 1 of 6 weeks. Like, I literally can't wait for like this first cohort, like in 6 months, as you said, like, where are they going to be? Like, where are they going to be? It's like night and day, right?
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, Justin. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks.
So guys, that's the component that I think is missing when we're building a business, is so lonely. And when we're doing this just by ourselves, it's hard to stay accountable to actually doing this with our best effort. You know, it can be, it's an uphill battle. You know, it's not easy to build your own business. And a lot of people have great intentions, but they don't go the distance. And that's where, for me, the relationships that I built early on were what actually helped me get to here today. And I really want to be able to facilitate those. Mike, how's it going? Where are you from? What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm having so much fun here.
Me too. This is fantastic. What a great idea. I just happened to be down in the studio here working on a vid and saw your live pop up. So I'm thrilled that you've got me on. I'm a huge fan.
What kind of projects are you working on right now?
Working on, I do a lot of run films. So
run films. Right now, oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm hashtag run with Levi, man.
Oh, sweet. I love that. What kind of run films are you working on? Is it like road running, trail running?
Trail running. So I did, you familiar with Squamish 50?
Oh, yeah. The 50-50 or just the 50?
I did the 50-50.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. I'm
yes. Okay. Come do it with me, man.
Is that September? Is that when it is each year?
Yeah, it's sold out this year. So yeah. 2020.
I'm sure I could send an email to the right person and just beg profusely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had someone say that they would be able to get me into a marathon somewhere that was hard to get into. I don't want to say which one. And I was kind of just like, 1, that's incredible. And 2, I would be awful at a marathon. Like,
you know, I picture you as more of a trail running kind of guy.
Yeah, I think I would prefer actually to just skip marathons altogether and go straight into like 25, 50K trail runs. I think that would be a little bit more up my alley.
So I'm headed down to Costa Rica in 2 weeks to run the Coastal Challenge, which is a 6-day stage race.
Whoa.
And
how many kilometers or miles is that?
240 kilometers.
My word, over 6 days? How much elevation?
10,000 meters, 30,000 feet.
That might be more than I ran all last year. I don't know.
Well, it's a lot. So no, I'm excited. It's my birthday, February 10th, and that's when we toe the line. So.
Wow. And where are you based out of right now?
Edmonton.
Edmonton, right on. And have you been coming out for the Squamish 50 for the last couple of years? Or
yeah, I did the last 2 years. So I did the 50 miler in 2017, and I did the 50-50 in 2018.
Is that a Kino Diva up on a stand behind you there?
Which?
What is that light in the back corner there? I'm just.
Yeah. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even sure what it is because it was. I asked my my marketing team what I should buy, and they gave me a list, and I went and bought a bunch of stuff. That was the first one. The other thing I realized I don't have my my mic plugged in. My Scarlett blew up on me. So.
Okay, that's totally okay. I think some other people's audio wherever they have been has been not as good as yours. So you're definitely on the. If I had to rate the audio of those who have called in so far, I'd put you in the top 3 for sure. You're doing great for audio in this room.
No, I'm good for gear. I'm a gearhead, and I'm an older dude that's just found his creativity. So when that young guy says, "Yeah, I don't have a creative bone in my body," I just want to grab him and say, "Dude, come on, man."
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, you do. You just haven't found it yet.
So creativity for me, like I always like creativity and being an artist kind of thing. I always thought that was like my older brother because he was like the artist, like singer, songwriter, painter. Like he could basically arrange some rocks and it would be art. Like that's the kind of guy he is. Whereas I'm the one who was out like modifying a wheelbarrow to carry around whatever. Like that's just who I was. And so I never actually identified with being creative or being an artist. But then there's a point that I think around 17 or 18, I started to realize, hey, I think I actually have a knack for visual things more than I gave myself credit for earlier. And so I had to rewrite my story a little bit once I realized I don't have to be as creative or artistic as my brother, but I can be like my own version in my own way.
Nice. Yeah. And that's, it's interesting. I mean, again, so I turned 50 on February 10th. So this is the Coastal Challenge is my big hurrah. And
wow. Congratulations.
Up until about 5 years ago, I would have said the same thing. I don't have a creative bone in my body, but I've started making films and I love it. I mean, I've created a couple of businesses. I speak professionally and just recently found filmmaking. And I got my girlfriend and I got rocking the shirts. And
I love it. That makes me so happy seeing the Leftcoast shirt.
Well, it was. Have you watched any of Dan Whitehead's stuff?
I have watched Dan Whitehead stuff. Yeah, we've chatted back and forth a little bit over the past 6 or 8 months or something like that.
Yeah, so he's how I found you.
Oh, fantastic! What happened? What did he put out?
Well, he mentioned you at some point in one of his vids. So
okay.
Again, I'm a big run fan, and Dan, as you well know, puts together some phenomenal videos.
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing the pieces of self-filmed content that he makes around running. It's really impressive. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I absolutely. Dan is the dude I aspire to be like, and so I watch all of his stuff, and the UTMB and CCC and all those big races. So I'm hoping I can put something together out of Costa Rica. We just went down and did Across the Years down in Phoenix. But that's a loop course. It's a 24-hour run on a 1 mile loop.
No, that sounds miserable.
Yeah, well, 24 hours is a short one. They got a 24-hour, 48-hour, 72-hour, 6 day.
Oh no, I don't think I'm mentally prepared for what it takes to actually accomplish these ultra runs. I don't know if I have it.
Yeah, you know what? I would have said the same thing a number of years ago, but it's just, I mean, like you, right? Whether it's creative or whether it's fitness, you start with the 5K, then you got to see, well, can I do 10? Then can I do a half marathon? Can I do a marathon? Can I run a 50? Can I run 100? I've now done 200s, and now we're going to do 240K in the jungle.
Okay, so Mike, Lucky here in the chat is saying that you have a TED Talk that he's seen. Tell me about this.
Yes,
is this
Lucky.
the same Mike?
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. I do a TED Talk. I did a TED Talk called "Redefining Badass."
Oh, awesome.
And I talk about what it means to be a man, and I've got a bit of a story that goes with that. My girlfriend was murdered by an ex-boyfriend. And so, for over 2 decades, I've studied the impact that emotion has on human behavior as a business leader and a sales guy. And that translates to film, as you well know. So I talk about that in the context of, as a man or as men, we're actively dissuaded, or have been historically actively dissuaded from exploring our emotions. And if we don't understand the underlying emotions that drive the decisions we make, we have zero opportunity to live a fully awakened existence.
Yeah, that's a fantastic mission that you're on there, spreading that message, because I mean, I don't have a huge grasp on the psychology and the emotional stuff behind this, but I mean, it's so important from, the limited perspective I've had on Earth so far, but it just seems really critical that, men actually tap into who do they care about and why, and who are they themselves, and then actually going out and fighting for that in ways that are worth fighting for, instead of, because I feel like there's a lot of mixed messages that go out about manhood, and it's confusing, and people argue now that there actually isn't manhood, and it's all up in the air, it seems like at times. But there's this thing built into a lot of us of, hey, do we have people to look after and protect and actually engage with and tap into emotionally, and have that deeper connection. And I'm devastated to hear about your personal story. That's something that I want to go watch that TED Talk now, because I'm sure you address it more. But
thanks, man. And that's where, when Lucky was talking about niching down his channel and whether he should sort of hit the dad angle and stuff, that's what I was thinking. That the world needs more good dads. And,
amen to that, brother.
Lucky, if you want to reach out, I see we connected on Instagram. Let's connect and have some conversations and spread that, because I'd love to hear his journey of fatherhood as well.
Yeah, I'm happy that you two are connecting. And
what part of the world is Lucky in?
So I ran into him in New York. And he told me where he was from, but I actually forget. But Lucky's going to pop it in the chat here for a moment. And I actually, I ran it. So I was just at a small conference in New York, and that's where I ran into Lucky for the first time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that, your New York stuff. That was really cool.
Thanks. I haven't done vlogs like that in a while. I kind of took a step back from making stuff like that. So I had fun, just I honestly I wasn't stressed. I kind of just made whatever I made that day, and it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, because I watched you, I watched the whole run with Casey bit, and then
cool.
To see that, oh my God, I got to run with Casey. Like that was fantastic. So I started plucking out a few things, hashtag run with Levi.
Oh, sweet. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike,
you're Lower Mainland, right?
Yeah, I'm in Lower Mainland. Yeah. And there's this year I've been trying to tap more into, there's a trail running community here. So I've been trying to come out to club runs, because I think a big reason why I didn't run trail last year was I was nervous about I basically felt at any point Casey might pop over to my Strava, and I wanted the pace to look fast enough because I was trying to run with him. But this year I'm now flipping kind of towards the opposite, where I'm desiring to care far less about pace. So that way I just get out and be active. And so doing stuff on trail, basically pace almost goes out the window for most of the stuff I do.
Yeah. Well, and that's the beautiful thing about trail. Like I said, I'm not a young dude anymore, and I can't keep up with these guys on road. But dude, I can run for 100 miles, and not a lot of people can do that.
Wow. So Mike, Lucky's saying he's from Connecticut, by the way, just so you know. What what perspective or experiences have you pulled from that you think, so if someone is, I mean, let's just call it what it is, struggling with their masculinity, or maybe who they are is coming out in a way that is having undesirable effects on their relationships, where they're wondering the trail of wreckage they've left behind, either emotionally or what have you. What would be some lessons or introspective stuff that you have talked through for guys to try experiment with if they're trying to tap into that a little more?
Well, I think just allowing themselves to feel. I do a lot of these talks around healthy relationships, healthy masculinity, and I've done a lot at universities. And having these conversations, I mean, there's a universal truth. Like, guys everywhere are really just looking for somebody to give them permission to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, that narrative is changing for sure. We're seeing it in a lot of places, but as you say, there's a lot of mixed messages. So, for me, one of the big tools has been mindfulness, yoga. Again, just you nailed it, introspection. So I don't know that you need a whole lot of magic for introspection. You just need to take the time and do it. And take a pause, understand when you're feeling a certain emotion, recognize that it's there, accept it, sit with it, and learn from it as best you can. So,
yeah, I think I think something that's helpful. I don't know if it's, I feel like I read it somewhere in some book somewhere, but being able to actually acknowledge our capacity to, I don't know. I sometimes wonder, sometimes when I sit alone with my own thoughts, it can be a little intimidating because sometimes it's just, you're not always sure what you're going to run into. And there's a lot of layers that can be going on, but
absolutely. Yeah. But you know what? It's about having the courage to peel back some of those layers.
Right.
And, you're married. If you've got a partner that'll support that, I mean, that's important. For me, journaling, writing was a big part of it. And now that creativity, I'm finding is moving into the filmmaking side of the equation. So,
right.
I just rebranded my channel. You talk about niching down and I'm kind of all over the map because I talk about healthy masculinity. I love to run. I love yoga. I love mindfulness. I love all these different things. So I actually just, to your point earlier, you talked about experimenting with your channel early.
Right.
I think I'm at 57 subscribers. So I just rebranded.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Becoming a better man. So that's,
cool.
Running, relationships, and creativity. Those are sort of my 3 pillars.
Is there a reason why, do you want to okay, so here's just a thought exercise. We could probably go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but I think it might also work well to have your personal brand be what people run into as far as the channel name, and then have, what did you say the name was that you just said?
Becoming a better man.
Yeah.
I mean, my channel name is Mike Cameron.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That's what I was just going to suggest. Instead of having the YouTube channel be Becoming a Better Man, have that be a series or a thing that you're doing. It sounds like that's okay. Great. That's already that. It sounds like you're already on that track.
That's just the header. And cool. Again, I've started playing with, like I said, creativity. I would have told you I don't have a creative bone in my body a year ago, but now I'm experimenting with.
Oh, awesome.
So that shaped bokeh, right?
Yeah. Is that an image comp? Is that multiple images?
No, it's one image.
Wow. So is that with did you put something in front of the lens that had the heart on it, kind of thing?
Yeah. So cut out a black circle. I'm actually going to do a tutorial on it, but that table back there. So on one end of the table, I set up the camera and the mug. On the far end of the table, I strung some fairy lights down, and then took a black sheet of paper and cut out the heart and held it in front, and voila, there you go. So
that looks lovely. I bet it was fun experimenting with that.
Super fun experiment. So my last email newsletter, I've got a reasonable size newsletter. So on my last newsletter, that was I threw out. I had a bunch of these printed.
Cool.
And, I'm going to do a draw for everybody that subs to my channel. I'll do a draw and give out one of these.
Well, Mike, is there any questions I can help answer on your journey right now, or share my random cobbled experiences from? Like, any questions that I can?
Well, I feel like you've done it. I mean, that was going to be sort of my question is, you know, as a guy coming kind of later in life into the game, any advice? But I don't know that that's all that relevant as far as age goes. I mean, the good news for me is you know, I've done fairly well in business, so I've got that. You know, I've got my bases covered, and so I've got the wherewithal to experiment, and I get to buy all the fancy gear. So.
Yeah, that's the advantage of having put in your work already is the needing to stretch as someone in high school.
Yes.
How do you feel about the message that Gary Vee puts out there about age? Have you looked at that at all?
I haven't really, no.
So Gary Vee, he's got a lot of messages, and the way that he comes across can sometimes be hard to just digest at first, just because he's got a lot of personality that can sometimes be a turnoff for people. But he's put out several videos in the past. I think some of them were called like, watch this if you're over 60 years old, or 5 minutes for the next 10 years of your life. And he's got this message that basically he's so passionate about, don't let the young kids have all the fun with what's currently going on in the world right now, because there's no reason why the people with more experience that have more age under the belt can't be doing the same stuff and reaching audiences that really want to hear from them. There's just simply no reason.
Yeah, no, I love that. And again, that's, you know, like I said, for me, you know, part of one of the series was going to be something like, you know, #ThisIs50. And as I told you, I turned 50 February 10th. I started off the year running 100 miles around a track. February 10th, I'm going to be running 240 kilometers through the jungle. In July, I'm running 100 miles up in the mountains.
Are you a Strava guy? Are you on Strava?
I am. Yeah. At some point, I'm going to run with Levi.
You're gonna have to lower your mileage count for that run. Let me tell you, Mike.
That's a-okay, man. We'll go up the Baden-Powell Trail there if that's your neck of the woods.
Baden-Powell Trail. Actually, where is that? I don't actually know. It probably is my neck of the woods.
So the first ultra I did was the Neenacker.
The Neenacker. Okay, where's that?
That's on the Baden-Powell Trail, which is over Seymour, Cypress.
Okay.
And over the three mountains there.
Oh wow.
But yeah, Baden-Powell's Deep Cove to Horseshoe Bay.
Deep Cove to Horseshoe Bay. Whoa, that's wild. Yeah, that's right in my neck of the woods.
Trails.
Cool.
Yeah, by Quarry Rock there, and you know where that is?
I do know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah, so up in those trails there.
Sweet, Mike. This is a highlight call of the evening. I appreciate you tuning in and chatting with me. This is a lot of fun.
My pleasure, man. I feel like I'm sort of monopolizing time. I apologize, guys, but yeah, so much fun. And Lucky, let's definitely connect.
Cool. Make sure I find your Strava. I just tried to search it there, and I'm seeing someone that has 0 miles, so I don't think that's
Axiom Mike.
Axiom Mike. How do I?
AXIOMMIKE. I don't post a ton on Strava, but I'll start.
Yeah, I just love seeing, like, for me, it's like a kick in the butt when I see other people have these awesome weeks back to back, and I'm like, dang, I have no excuses. But
yeah, what's your?
I'm Levi Allen on Strava.
Oh,
Levi Allen.
Easy peasy. I'm gonna go grab you on Strava right now.
Okay, thanks for repping the merch. I appreciate that. And
well, this stuff, dude, like these shirts. You don't often get good quality shirts with this kind of stuff. Like, it's often garbage. And I was so impressed when I got these, because I absolutely love them.
Yeah. What that means is I don't end up, there's not tons of margin on the price point. And so you're Canadian, so you're paying the US price. And I mean, they're certainly not cheap, but basically that style of shirt is a tri-blend shirt. And so I tried some of the cotton ones, and I wasn't a huge fan. And so basically I sell the merch because I want to get something physical into people's hands that they would actually maybe like. And so I'm happy to hear that you like the fabric of the shirt, because
this is one of my favorite shirts. Although Matt Diavella's now got me down to I'm down to 5 pairs of jeans and 9 gray t-shirts.
Wow. That's actually phenomenal. So I just went on this trip, and a big problem for me was socks, like I need to buy maybe merino wool socks or something, because I only had 4 pairs of socks for this past week, and my feet, like I can smell them from where I'm sitting right now. Like I literally got here from the airport and started streaming, and it's not a pleasant smell.
Yeah, Swiftwick has got some good ones, or any of the merino wool ones as well, for sure.
Okay. Well, Mike, this has been a hoot. Have a great evening, and let's talk again soon.
All right, thanks, man.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Wow, team, this is fun. This is like now going to become a staple in the Left Coast live streaming world. Like this is cool. I'm having a lot of fun. For those that have tuned in live and are still here at the end, I'm just thrilled to have you. Yeah, if you're a creative, if you want to launch your filmmaking business, I've talked about it several times now, but I've got a course that will hopefully help kind of reposition your mindset around this. So that's kind of the big thing that I'm launching today, and it's open for another 6 minutes, and so I just popped it in the chat. And if you want the best price ever on it, now is the time. But I've got Chris with me. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. We can hear you, and I'm having a lot of fun. Where are you based out of?
Cheers.
Oh, cheers to that. Yeah.
I'm outside of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a small YouTuber guy. I don't do it for a living. I just love making videos, and I did it for a long time, and then I didn't for a long time.
Right.
And I'm just kind of now getting back into it. And,
what do you make your videos about?
Right now it's mostly vlog type things. I play drums. I'll try to do stuff with my band.
Cool.
I just want to try and be a better storyteller, and try and learn better technique. It's just it's a lot of fun having a creative release.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives me sanity in my day-to-day, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's why that's one of the reasons why I started my channel and experiment. Like I experimented with several things before I started uploading videos with myself in it regularly. But one of those things that I experimented with was things like doing daily time lapses, or I tried to make daily videos, or I've experimented with a lot of different things over the year until I landed on what I've been doing now. And it was all just because I needed an outlet. Like,
yeah.
I was working a full-time day job that wasn't using all the creative muscles that I had in me. And so I noticed that I told this joke at the conference that we were just at, but I realized that I was playing a game on my iPhone on the toilet, so that way I didn't have to be in the room with other people. And I realized at that point I didn't have an excuse for why I didn't have time to make anything. The game was called Plunder Pirates, and I was literally playing it like I was just sitting on the toilet, not doing anything, but I was on my phone playing this game. And I realized I'm wasting my time for no reason. And I tell myself I don't have the energy or the space to be creative, and I'm just full of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I find myself doing a lot of consuming.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like I get obsessed with learning about how to do the process.
Right.
But I don't spend enough time doing the process. So over the past, 4 or 5 months, I've just been trying to do more. And part of the No Small Creator community that I became a part of has been a good inspiration for that.
Yeah, that's a really cool message.
Yeah, I tend to be a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get away from that a little bit. Not that done is better than perfect things so much, but just, as long as you're getting better each time, and you got to do at some point instead of just learn. So that's what I've really just been trying to get past. And, I've been learning, watching from you. I just found you recently, actually. So
yeah, every project can't be better than your last, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's I think brings people into filmmaking is at least for most of the people that end up watching the kind of YouTube videos that I end up making and some of the other heavy hitters make is, there is a fascination with the tech behind it, and
yeah,
it's really cool. I've always loved sports or activities that involved technology and gear. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but like you were just saying, if that becomes the only focus that you ever have, and you usually start to explore it because you think, hey, I could maybe do that.
Yeah.
And then you see other people's work and you go, yeah, I could probably do something like that. Let me figure out what it takes. And you do all this research, but if it never jumps to the step one of actually starting to create and actively building those muscles. There's a podcaster who I absolutely love named Ira Glass. And if you look up, there's a video called Crossing the Gap by Ira Glass. And it's just basically a text video over this soundbite from him. But he basically says we start making creative stuff because we have a sense for what is good. We have good taste. But when we first start creating, it sucks. And
exactly.
There's this gap that you have to cross, and you cross it by doing. And it's devastating the people that spend countless hours consuming and never get to the point where they cross and start.
Right. And as somebody that struggles with perfectionism, realizing that you're going to suck for a while is really hard, but you have to kind of embrace that if you want to actually get better is kind of what I'm figuring out.
Yeah. In those early days, it's so tangible that each project you work on, it's so obvious what the next thing to improve on is. And so on one hand, I just tried to flip that and make that exciting. So in the early days where I was making videos, I kind of forced myself to finish the ones that were still bad. Just being excited that I now know what to change a little bit next time. So I learned, oh, hey, maybe I shouldn't shoot in that frame rate because it looks awful. Okay, well, now I know next time. Oh, maybe I should actually turn on my microphone so that way I have my audio. Now I'll do that next time. And in the early days, there's so many of those incremental steps that you get to make that if you find a way to get addicted to the progress, that's what ends up becoming really fun. It's like, I want to finish pieces of video, but I also want to make progression because I want to get better. And there's the only way to get better is to keep doing.
No, absolutely. And what I've been finding is the more often I hit the upload button, that becomes a little addicting. You know what I mean? Like just to actually finish it and hit upload, it's like, oh man, that's so cool. So then, but I'm trying to work it into its, because I have my full-time day job, which is not filmmaking, it's IT, and I have a family. But it's something I love doing. So trying to work it into the right balance and actually do it and have the outlet. It's addicting.
Yeah.
My family's very patient with me as I'm starting to have the camera out all the time. And
yeah, it takes building patience for sure for those that are close to us. But I want to encourage those that are tuning in at home and watching this live. I think it's really important to get to the stage. So I'll tell you a story. When I was getting into running, it took me failing at getting into running 5 years in a row till I finally said, okay, are you going to cut the shit or not? Like, are you going to actually show up and do this? Or are you going to be the kind of person that says, hey, yeah, I'm going to try this and then never actually follow through?
Right.
And I think for a personality like me, and maybe some of you feel similar, where it takes getting fed up with yourself a couple times to suddenly have the time where something clicks and you go. And that moment could be tomorrow. It could be next week. Like, you need to now decide, am I going to keep putting up with my excuses, or am I going to let it create this pinch point where suddenly I have to start taking action, or I've got this crisis of identity where I'm saying I'm this kind of person and I'm actually not doing it. That for me was really, really critical of just going, I say I could do it. I haven't done it. Am I just going to give that up, or am I actually going to try now?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, there was a period of time where I was a freelance guy, and I did some video stuff on the side, and I was media director for my church for a while, and then I got into IT, or I got a full-time IT job, and then that all fell away for 10 years.
Oh, right.
So, but for a while that was my identity. So it's just really fun having that be rekindled,
Mhm.
but I think in a more positive way than it has been before. You know, I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, there's a book that I really, really love called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I
And
started reading that by your recommendation.
How is it? What do you think so far?
I love it. I love it. And
Is there any
I
concepts
could
that have
totally
stuck out
relate
to
to it.
you?
I'm sorry?
Go for it. What can you totally relate to?
Well, because I have things about myself that I want to change, and I was doing it the wrong way, and that's why it would never stick. You know, it was like I would set these goals. Everything was goal oriented, or whatever the end is going to be, and it wasn't so much. I mean, I'm not that far in. I think I'm like in chapter 4, but learning about processes and.
Yeah, that's now hearing him say it so clearly in the book was what's given me, like, it's helped me understand my own story more, where what has worked for me is when I start to actually build the process and take on the identity instead of just setting it as the goal. Because I'm like if I took a personality test, I guarantee you in the top like 3 sentences of whatever personality test it is, it would say this guy's a dreamer, a leader, a goal setter. Like, I just want to take people to a place, but then I forget that there's a step-by-step journey that gets you to somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing James like kind of talk through these examples really help it just, it was kind of like, oh, that's a really clear way to talk about it, where we need a process to arrive at wherever it is we're trying to go.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I got the book based on your recommendation from a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh man, that sounds great. That sounds great. So yeah, I've been working my way through it, and I'm excited about 2019. So.
Do you have any projects that you're working on currently? So you've got the YouTube channel going and you've got your IT job supporting you. Is there anything else do you have a goal in mind as far as something you'd like to make one day, or?
Really what I want to do, what I'm lacking right now is just consistency in my uploads. And it's really because I don't have a process in place to be able to do that. So I've been doing a lot of filming, but I haven't been doing a lot of editing, and it's just because of time and setup and things like that. So what I'd really like to do is get to maybe like right now, it's been averaging maybe once a month I'll upload something. If I could do weekly, that would be great, but every 1 or 2 weeks would be awesome. But I have tons of family footage. I have some recent stuff from some trips I've taken that's just sitting on my hard drive that I just have to get it edited, and my family wants to see it.
Yeah. So I experienced that kind of too, where I think I was in about a monthly rhythm at some point. And one of the things I was surprised, this might sound a little strange, but it was easier for me to do every week than every other week.
Yeah.
And the reason for that was when I was every other week, I was just waiting for, I spent more time thinking about it because I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then a day would finally come, and maybe I filmed a little bit throughout the week and I wouldn't have tons of clarity. And it took me more effort to get it started.
Yeah.
And I would be thinking about it for the whole 2 weeks. And what I
then
realized,
would you end up just throwing it together in the last couple of days anyway? So you may as well have done every week.
Yeah. And so what I realized was I need to just pick a day a week where I just make a thing. And if it's in my weekly rhythm, it actually became a lot more, not effortless, but it was easier to understand. Okay, this is the week I make a video, and it's next week too. And I just make a video every week, and that's what I do. And some weeks I just gave myself permission to not do it, but that's kind of my rhythm right now. Like if I miss a week, it feels really strange because I enjoy the process of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'd like to get to. The past few months has been about just kind of getting my head in a good place for work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for my day job, I'm like in a really good head place there now, to where that's giving me the freedom to, I'm not frustrated there. And now I can start working towards doing this weekly. Because everything was kind of chaos.
Yeah.
And I was finding solace in being creative, which was making me frustrated at work.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to do. I don't know if that's making any sense.
That
I
makes
had
a lot
this
of sense,
kind of
yeah.
romanticized version of, oh, I want to be a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that's just not my reality right now. So I'm okay with where everything is. And if I want to be a good filmmaker, then I have to work towards it, put in the work, put my head down and figure out a process and make it go, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes sometimes it can be such a gift having a day job that supports you in this stage where, I mean, if it's 5 years, if it's decade, if it's 20 years, it actually gives you the freedom to be supported without having to make an income from what you're doing too early. Because that's like the flip side, where if you're trying to make an income from it too early, you don't allow the idea to rapidly prototype and get to the better version of what it should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I encourage people. And so I got this question the other day where someone was saying, I've got a great job, but I want to get into this and there isn't time. And that's where I say, hey, maybe it might be okay for a time to leave your good job for a job that maybe you don't enjoy the activity of as much, but it's more flexible.
Yeah.
And then what that enables you to do is you're working this job for a purpose, not for the job itself. You're maybe let's say you really don't like being a security guard, but the hours are flexible. And so you decide, I'm going to be a security guard for a night shift, because what that enables me to do is I can take time off work to do my creative thing. And so while you're at work, the reason why you're doing that is for, like, I'm going to get home and I'm going to use my time well. And then when you get home, you actually want to use your time well because you're doing this job that might not be as enjoyable. And then you go home and when you have the spare time, when you have the day off, you use it well, because the flip side of that is someone's doing a job that's too similar to what they're trying to move in to do as their career. For example, if you're working for another production company and you're trying to branch off and start your own, what you might find is while you're working for that production company, you have zero energy for your own thing.
Right.
And that can be devastating. But if you work in a job that's actually different than what you're trying to go into, then that puts a little pressure on you where you're like, I don't like this job in the meantime, but if I do it well, it's a stepping stone to what's next. And so there's this dance that happens for some people where they want a great career, but then when they're in that career, they love the career and they think, hey, how can I transfer out of that and do a creative thing? And sometimes there might be a good step in the middle that, I mean, it doesn't sound like that's the circumstance you're in with IT, because it sounds like you've got a good thing going, but that's what I recommend for some people where they feel a little trapped. They're like, I need to do this job because it's a good job, but it's actually not a good job for what they're trying to accomplish next. It's a good job if they want to keep doing that job.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like my job. I enjoy it. I like doing IT. I'm a web developer. It's fun, but it's not necessarily creative. And what's been rekindled is just that creative bug,
right?
You know? And just kind of building stuff and seeing the skills build with each video I put out. I think anyway, I don't know, but it's fun.
Chris, this has been a blast. Thanks for hopping on a call with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Nice talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll do more live streams like this in the future. So
all right, man. Take care.
See ya. My friends, thank you for watching. I'm having that was a lot of fun. I can't believe I haven't done this before. Thanks for hanging with me. For those that are still here at the end, I'm just I'm an extrovert, and I feel like that got some of my extrovert senses tingling a little bit. I want to be helpful to you. I want to do stuff like this where whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, I can help you get a little closer. That's what helps give my vision for life meaning, and it's really important to me. So I'm just thrilled to have done something like this, and I want to do more of it in the future. And just thanks for following along the journey. I'm just having a lot of fun. In the meantime, I don't know what to tell you to do. I said I was going to upload daily, but I think I might miss uploading today because I chose to do this instead. And I think I'm glad I did. And, yeah, for those that are going to be a part of the the 6-week coaching experience. I can't tell you how excited I am to dive into this stuff with you, and it's going to make an impact. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next live stream, and take care for now.